Hello there and welcome to my Arty Corner here on YouTube. My name's Angela Porter. In a previous life, it seems, I was a science teacher for 28 years, mainly teaching children with special needs. But during that time, I also taught some art, as well as doing my Art A level, which is a qualification that's done over here, usually with people aged 16 to 18 before they head off to university. It's qualifications they need to do an undergraduate degree. And I did it when I was in my about 40-ish, so a few years ago now. But they had me teaching art at the same time. So there we are. Just goes to show, doesn't it? Hidden talents that you didn't know you had. Or I say talents. We've all got the ability to draw and express ourselves. It's just figuring out the way that it works for you and dispelling some of the preconceptions we pick up through life, which is a whole different story. But thank you for joining me. I'm carrying on with Inktober today. It's day 8. So I may do day 8 and day 9 together because it's Saturday, the 8th of October. It's afternoon. What is it? It's 1:30. It's still a bit too sunny for me to take my weird skin outside, even with sunblock. So I thought I'd do this. Been working this morning, getting stuff done. Been a good girl. So I can now indulge myself in other things. So day 8's Tangle is brand new to me. And it's by one of my favourite pattern designers, Tomos Padros. And it's based on something I love, which is a spiral. I don't need to say any more, do I? Very Celtic, very Latine in nature, and rather simple to draw, but with many alternatives. And Tomos, on his Instagram account, and I put the link to this particular pattern there, but for all this pattern has done tons of variations, both as a filler pattern, as a border, as a grid pattern, and so on, as well as variations of the pattern itself. So let's have a look and see where we're going. So as I'm just picking pens and things up and starting to organise myself here, I just want to say thank you to everybody who subscribed recently. I appreciate you all very much. If you're an old subscriber and has been here for a long time, I appreciate you more. Or even for a short time, I appreciate you just as much. In fact, I say more and it's as much. So thank you very much. Thumbs up for videos are always welcome because it means I'm on the right track for you. And hit the notification bell if you want to know when I upload a video. It's most days, sort of. Bit random over the next month as I get a colouring book contract finished. Hopefully on time. They're very flexible with me, thank goodness. Okay, so this tangle is called, it's called Snack, I think. I'll check. Yeah, it's Snack. And it's based simply on a spiralling S. So I'm going to start at the top and I'm going to spiral around. I'm going to go down here because I'm going to attach it to all my heartfully here. And then I'm going to bring this back in. I am going to put a nice fat, juicy black spot there. And what's more, I'm going to zoom in, because that way you'll be able to see it more a bit better. Okay, then the next part of this is really simple. You start with this and you just draw a little arc over. You start here and you draw a little arc over. And that basically is Snack. Of course, we're going to add some ink in the little places where the lines connect, where there's space, just to add that little bit more dimension. I'll do it again. So I'm going to start up here. I'm going to go right the way around. In fact, I went around a lot more in this one than I did in the last. But you know what? It's going to work out exactly the same kind of way. This is actually something that I've often done myself in patterns, because I have a bit of a love of early Celtic patterns and Latine, and this is quite a familiar one to me, but it's nice to show people. So you can see here, this is quite a simple S shape, or it was, down round. This one, by adding extra rotations, I suppose, around the beginning and end of the S shape, it just looks that little bit more complex. That's just a very simple kind of variant. But you know me, we're not going to leave it there, are we? Oh no. So I've created my S shapes here, more like triangles at the ends, but I'm still going to do the same kind of connection. We just get something that looks a little bit different, which is quite fun. I'm making a right pig's ear of some of these. I think it's because I should really get a finer pen out than the one I'm using. So let's have a look and see what I can do here. I think I could do with one that comes out this way, perhaps. Let's see how this one goes. Oh, it's not going to go that way, it's going to go this way. And we can join them here. This one there. There's little bits of ink. And where these snacks join together, we can also add a little bit of weight in there. Now I've got some tiny spaces here. I've got options, but my preference, I think, at the moment is just to fill these smaller spaces in with black. These ones up here, which are bigger, I'm going to fill in a different way. And before I forget, I want to add some line weight, so I'm going to go to where the bottoms and left of these will be. Don't need to worry too much about those, but I do want to add some in the middle. So to the left and around to the bottom. Ooh, really am having trouble controlling my pen today, which is ridiculous because I've spent 3 or 4 hours drawing this morning. I've been sketching out some of the designs for the book. So I got 3 done this morning, just in pencil. I haven't inked them in because they'll go off to my editor for the editorial team to have a look and kind of, in inverted commas, approve them or make suggestions. They often have their own suggestions, and because I'm being paid. But they always say I can choose to, you know, act on them. Mostly, sometimes they say, do you realise that doesn't look... They see something in a way I don't see it, and you think, okay, that's not a problem, I can change that. It's easy enough. That's why I tend to ink everything in digitally now, because it's a lot easier to adapt and to alter things that way than it is if you've drawn things on paper. So I'm really making a pig's ear of the thick lines here, but I think they'll be okay. So we've got some like this. So I'm just going to flick through. Oh gosh, he's got definitely has some lovely variations, some interesting ones as well. So I'm going to sneak another one in here. Well, that one's a mirror image. I didn't realise I was doing a backwards one. But it doesn't matter which way round you do them, because they will always work out. It's the wonder of things, patterns like this. It's just remembering how you join the sections together to create this. Now the variation I just saw involves, let me just double check, yeah. It involves adding a fine line here around that inner bit, and it just helps to almost sink it backwards into just sink it backwards, make it feel more hollow. So there's lots of things that we can do. I'm not going to do them as patterns, as ribbons or anything. Just having a look. Do I want to add any more here? The chances are the answer is going to be yes. I'm just going to fill that section in with black because that makes sense to me. Add some rounding and so on. And not forgetting to I like to do that. Isn't it fun? Do I want to add another one? Do you know what? I think I will. I think I'll add one up here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a half one. Half a one, you say? Well, yeah, because it's essentially a spiral. And then with these, we launched off the side here, and that's exactly what I'm doing here to create that closed space. So I've got one that's hiding away under there. Oops, as I just caused the ink to spread. Oops, lesson. Do I want to add any more? Looking at the shapes I've got here, and I think I may just, let's have a look and see what I can do. I'm going to add a long thin one in here, just to tidy up that edge a little bit, and perhaps here I'll do a half one. So let's have a look. I'm going round this way, and I'd go back and round that way if I was making an S, starting to make an S. I'm stopping there, and I'm going to complete that shape, and then just round corners off again and add line weight, because I think that will work. And I think I might just bring that out a little bit and give it a little bit of a hook on the end, because I think that looks quite nice. In fact, I do like that. So I've got a lot of these. I've got a lot of space here to fill in as well. Okay. I do want to use my finer pen on some of these, because I really like this way of defining this crack in the middle. So what I'm doing is I'm following the shape of the line from this side, this long tail of the spiral almost that we create, and back. And I'm going to do that on all of them. Just helps with that, that feeling that we've got a crack there, or a dip where these shapes just join. Now, this one, it would go around there, and for this one, it would go there. So we're not leaving those out either. And me being me, I am going to add some extra at the other ends. And I am breaking these lines just a little, so they kind of look a bit on the broken side, but just to add some texture around this edge, as if this one too is a little bit beaten up and battered perhaps, or has a bit of a lip on the edge, as if the curvature shapes on it. I'm trying to think of something that's common where you'd have this. It's like the edge is beveled, but the beveling changes in direction, like on the edge of a sword blade, I guess, would be a good way of thinking of it, or sometimes on kitchen knives and things like that. So I've got some very rather lovely ones here. Seems a shame to add colour, but I'm going to. I am going to add colour. I am. Ooh, and I'm going to use my ink tents because I can. Just dragging them over as I do. Got the leaf green. I want to use that one. Actually, I think the Ionian green might be nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some colour along these regions where I think there's going to be a dip or a change in direction. Just need to get some water going, hopefully here, because I am going to spread them out. I'm not going to colour the whole of these, I don't think. I think I just want to see what I can do with just a little bit here, and perhaps come back once that's dry, and I want to add some shading around the bottom here, in the dip, around the bottom, around the outer edge, a little bit in the middle, which I can add to this one. Not too much in the middle on my first one, because there wasn't that much space there. But let's have a look. My problem is I'm picking up some of the ink from this. It hasn't dried fully yet. Cleaning off on the back of my hand because, yeah, forgot to pick up some kitchen towel. It's fine though. What I am going to do is, if I do go into the areas, I do want to wet it all really, just to get that consistency of treatment. So I'm going to go along this one here, I'm going to go around there, a little bit at the end. Hopefully you'll see, because I think I went off camera there a moment. It's my problem, I get so engrossed in what I'm doing, I forget to check that I'm visible on the camera. It's a skill to be learnt and developed just like anything else. But as I'm going to do all of these, the process is the same for them all. So I'm going to add shadow or colour inside these darker sections, along the middle, again in those fine areas, those thin areas, but I'm also going to add some shadow to bring out some texture or some dimension elsewhere. So getting some going here. I want to keep most of the colour in that darker section. I don't really want to spread it out very far, if at all. Got some at the bottom. I'm picking up. Seems I'm picking up some of the pen. I think it's because there's quite a lot of the pen, the ink from the pen on here. Trying to leave highlighted areas, but I know that if I don't, then I'm going to be able to come back easily enough with a gel pen to add them. And of course you know that's exactly what I'm going to do, don't you? Anyway, because I want to keep these in line really with the rest of the page. So what I do on one, I do on all the others as well. So if it's not even, I'm going to be able to disguise some of this as well, which is fine. Okay, so let me add all the pencil this time because I know what I'm doing. So it's in the narrow bands. I'm putting some underneath my curves there at the end where they bend over. So here, around here, under here, and in there. The narrow bands underneath, in there, and at the ends like that. I think I've got them all now. So let's just do this. Once you've worked out how you want to add the colour, it's easy enough to quickly go through with the pencil and add everything in the same way. It helps with that consistency because I finally worked out how I wanted to add this and I've just changed it a bit here. But so sunny out. It's really warm in the house as well. It's even got the heating on. Avoiding doing that, though. Cost of energy. It's just the sunlight streaming in. It's lovely. So I'm going to go out in a wee while, when the sun is definitely a lot lower in the sky than it is now. So that I'm going to try and get some autumn colours caught on my camera. I'm just looking and seeing if there's any I want to add any more colour to, and I think this one down here I definitely think could do with some more colour. It's looking a bit not sculpted enough. Because essentially this is what I'm doing. By adding shadow I'm actually taking, it's almost like I'm taking material away. This one here I think could do with some more, but I'm going to pick the colour up off the pencil rather than add it to the paper. Doesn't damage the Inktense pencil at all, adding water to it. Doesn't change how it works. The only way it changes is if it's got something that it's going to stick to permanently, like paper. So to do it this way is perfectly fine. Of course I can carry on intensifying this for as long as I want, really, until I've got the feel on these sections that I really would like. So don't be afraid of doing that, of going back and adding more. So in many ways it's better to start cautiously and build shadow or colour up, adding layers, whether it's layers of the same colour or different colours if you want to go that route. But it's doing it bit by bit and having the patience to persevere with it. It does take a wee while, but it is worth it, as I'm discovering more and more. Just want some there as well. So I've got some really quite, so if I move that over, I'll zoom out. So I've got some there that are really quite bright and vibrant. So, oh, not vibrant, but they are quite sculptural. Oh, you might have noticed the middle bit here, if you haven't checked the community section. I don't know if you saw my last video. In the last video, the centre here, I tried to colour with some Inktense and water and it was looking really awful. Well, I thought it was. So yesterday I thought, right, what can I do? I know, I'll get a black marker out, fill the middle section in, add the the hand lettering in white gel pen over it. And then I've got this border to do something with, and I want to do black and white squares. But I think I'm going to have to go round. I'll work it out how I'm going to do it. It'll work out fine. Just haven't decided. Right. So I have got an 05 Jelly Roll pen in white. And I love the fineness of the line of this. So I'm going to add, if I zoom in again. Do I need to go in again? Why not? Oh, look at that. There we are. So this is the one I started with up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm looking at where I've got an edge here, and I'm going to draw along it, break it, draw along a little bit, break it, and where I want a bit more in the way of highlights, just going to put some extra lines in. And I'm going to do the same kind of thing on this one, like so. Not exactly the same, but close enough. I'm going to do the same here. Now this is my preference. You may prefer to use the white charcoal or some other, or white pastel pencil. The choice really is yours, you know. And but the method of application, or not the method, the area of application would be very similar in them all. These actually look almost like, you know, the Danish pastries, like the cinnamon and raisin swirls, or cinnamon buns that have been wound up. That's what that looks like. Oh dear, and I do have to venture into a grocery shop store later, food store. So I'm out of berries. Got frozen ones, but while I can still get ones that are local and in season, that's what I want to do. And fresh. Okay, this one is going to be an interesting one because I'm going to want the highlights really to be where we can see them here. I'm just adding white to the areas I haven't added a lot of colour to, I suppose is the best way of describing this. And rather than use solid white lines, I'm breaking them as if the surface that I'm drawing on has a texture, is rough and broken. A bit like rock, I suppose. I can always go back in and add more, but again, with this you can always add more, but it's not so easy to take this away. This one here, this lovely area of white. So that works really nicely actually. So I'm working with how the colour has ended up being applied here. Which is quite fun. And then I've got this one last one here. And then down and around, back up. That is Tomos Padros snack. So as I say, I'll leave a link to, I'll just zoom out so you can see it in its entirety. Try and centre that roughly on my screen for you. Lovely, lovely tangle. I really enjoyed drawing that. And it's, as I say, it's something that's familiar to me, even though the pattern itself is new to me. The method of drawing these things isn't. It's very much, you know, I'm from my studies of Celtic and early medieval art and stuff. You know, but it's such a nice thing to do. I particularly like making the shapes flat on the bottom, so almost you've got like a triangle there. But play with it. Have a look at Tomos's Instagram, which I'll put in the link or in the description box below for you, and play around with it and see what you come up with. Yeah, so I'm going to leave that here for today. So look after yourselves, take care, and above else, find time to be creative. Ta-ta for now. Bye. Ta-ra.